So if you're joining us online, thank you so much for doing so. Maybe even you're here tonight and you're going back and watching again online just because you want to get all that you can out of tonight. I'm so excited for it. We're going to be talking about business leadership for this 10 times better session. If you came in, hopefully you saw the handouts. There were 3 pieces of paper to grab as you came in. If you did not receive all of those or a portion of those, please raise your hand right now so I can take note and I will bring them to you. Okay, got you there. And so I'll bring you some here in just a moment. But this is going to be a great night. We have so much richness, so much goodness, so much experience from the aspect of business leadership, one in our community, but then also from a kingdom perspective as well. We have Chris and Sandy Berry and Ryan and Abigail Gordon with us tonight, and both couples of great integrity, great wisdom, and it's so cool to be able to even have both of them coming in from different points of their life in business leadership. I hope you guys are able to share your story, but then also where you're at now. As well, and then for you guys and what you're doing, where you started from, and where you are, and then even where we're going as well. And so we're delighted to have our guest speakers. So thank you so much for being here. We may have some others come in as well. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give each one of these couples a portion of time to be able to share what God has placed on their heart to share with us as a people. We'll have a little bit of just a small 5-minute intermission. After that, you can stretch, take a little break, and then we'll gather together. We're going to have a question-answer type panel to close this out. I know a lot of you guys who had signed up previously were able to submit a question, and so we're going to be going through some of those. If there's time at the end, you may even have a question that you didn't get a chance to ask, and you'll be able to do so after that. So let's open up in prayer, and then we will get started. Father, thank you so much for the chance to be able to become 10 times better in your kingdom, and for your people that are choosing to be here tonight or choosing to watch online. And Lord, we simply want to commit the time to you. We thank you for the Berry family and for the Gordon family, for all that they've put their hands to, Lord, the hard knocks that they've taken and the times that they've gotten back up. Lord, they're here because they got back up in those moments. And Lord, we thank you for the wisdom that's in the room. Holy Spirit, we ask that you give us ears to hear what it is that you're saying through these people. And we commit this time to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Without further ado, I'm going to ask that we give a warm Well family 10 times better welcome to Chris and Sandy Berry. Come on up, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, DJ. Thank y'all for being here. Hope you are not too disappointed because I'm just about going to break every law of leadership that you've heard before. So this is my wife, Sandy, and she has something to share from her heart before we begin.
Well, first of all, when Chris and I got married, will be 45 years in October, we never thought we would be starting a business. That was far from what we had in mind. But as time went on, the Lord blessed us. And I'm not talking about material-wise. I'm not talking about money-wise. I'm talking about walking this journey with us when we thought, well, how's this going to turn out? How's this going to work? But God was with us, and I can see that, the strength. And I'm thankful for where we are today, not because of what we've done, but because of God's guidance. And that's just my heart. I'm not one to speak out in public, so I'm going to turn this over to Chris now, and he'll do the rest.
Thank you. This one? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll try to be. Okay, I'll keep messing you up. That's what I usually do. If y'all ever don't know, my name's Chris Berry. My wife, Sandy. DJ, thank you. And I'm 68 years old and graduated high school in 1975. Graduated Jacksonville State in 1980. Got married in 1980 also. And my first job was absolutely hauling hay or cutting grass. Whatever was to be done, that's what I wanted to do as a teenager growing up. Didn't know anything else, but that's what we do. So after I graduated Jacksonville, did a couple of 3 odd jobs around, and there was a place that used to be in business called Scottsboro Business Equipment. And they were on the square, off the square. They went 5 points. This was in 1982. And they put an ad in the paper that they needed somebody to wash trucks, gopher, do whatever it needs to be done. They needed somebody. And so I applied for it, and I got the job. And so I washed trucks, I hauled garbage, I done whatever they needed to be done. And one day the owner came to me and he said, "Hey, Chris, would you think you'd like to work on office equipment?" Sure, I love to work with my hands. And that's where it started at. So actually I rode the bench for a long time, and we stayed there, I did, until me and Sandy, we stayed there, I did, till 2000. And in 2000, I had worked with a gentleman there that he and I had worked together for 16 years. And I shared with him one day, I said, "Hey, look, I think God's laying on my heart to go out and start our own business." And so he said, "Well, keep me informed on that. Let me pray about it." I didn't ask him to be a partner or anything. So we began to pray, I did, in my heart. "God, what would you have me do? What would you have me do?" And he began answering that prayer, yes. I shared with my wife. I said, "What do you think about this?" And so I run it by her, and she began to pray about it. Our son at that time was in the 11th grade in high school, and I shared it with him. Me and his mother both shared it with him. And so we began all to pray about it. Begin, what if this? What about this? What about that? Okay, are we prepared to lose everything? And I was, but got to make sure your family is. Sandy came back to me and she said, "I am prepared to go wherever you go. If we lose it all, we lose it all. I'm prepared to do that." Our son came to us and said, "Daddy, I'm ready. Wherever we have to live, whatever we have to do." So my partner and I, Randy Dunn, we started out with Berry and Dunn in the year 2000. So as business started to actually grow, some things came to me. And one of the biggest things that stuck with me was in the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36. Jesus said, "What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul?" What profit is it? Now, on that end there, where it says, "and loses his soul," put your family in that. What profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his family? What profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his integrity? Who he is. So it's not about the money. The money is on down the totem pole. It's about the lifestyle. It's about who you are. Don't let this business change you. You run the business. Don't let it run you, because it is a living, breathing thing that will take over and run you into the ground. So after we've been in talking and we agreed that's what we're going to do, I got in touch with a guy in Virginia. Tim Leonard was his name. And he had started a business in the same type business we're in about 5 years earlier. And he was more than welcome to share do's and don'ts. And he was a wealth of information. So that's the biggest thing I encourage. If you have to go to another state, just somebody you're not in competition with, and find out. And people in here, Ryan and Abigail, I guarantee you they're more than happy to share with anybody that asks them. to help you. And so this guy helped me a whole lot. And his number one thing, he said, number one, get a good accountant. Make sure you get a good accountant that is trustworthy, that is honest, and will tell you the truth. And we did. We got a very good accountant, and he was very good for us. He shared some stories with us about people growing too fast, about how they lost their whole business because they seen this big deal. And this big deal would put a lot of money in their pocket, and it'd be set for a long time. But this big deal went through. They got it. They got the business done. But the people they worked for was on a PO system. And their POs was like 90 days. The vendors were 30 days. The people lost their business because they didn't get paid when the vendor had to have their money. That was a story our accountant told us. And that stuck with me the whole time. So in business, I encourage you, don't grow too fast. Take your time, and again, do your thing. Be on your journey. Don't let that business tell you, or anybody else that comes up and says, hey, you can make a lot of money to do this. Remember, it's not about the money. It's about the lifestyle. It's about the journey. So once you get the accountant, he's going to talk to you, and we told our accountant, hey, look, I want you to err on the government side. I want to be able to lay down at night and sleep and not have to worry, did I cheat this? Did I cut short on this? Did I do this? And now you're going to get mad because the government's, they're a partner. Don't worry, they're a partner, and they've always got their hand out. But you know, I never have in 25 years of business, never laid awake at night thinking, well, the IRA, boy, if they audit us, we're gone. No, never did, because we did the best we could do and put it in the accountant's hands and told him, err on the side of the government. And he was very, very good. Then on starting the business, you're probably going to start out by yourself. I mean, that's just part of it. You're not going to start out managing 25 people. You're probably going to start by yourself. When you start by yourself, you're going to talk to your accountant, and then you're going to say, okay, he's going to ask you, if he's a good accountant, he's going to say, okay, are you going to incorporate? Or are you going to be a partnership? Or are you going to be sole proprietor? Those are very important questions for you to answer. If you take a partner with you, such as I did, we stayed partners for 25 years. Me and Sandy retired in February. Well, really in June now, June the 3rd. But you have to ask all those kind of questions, and a good accountant will guide you to be able to do that. And you'll need a good attorney. You may not think you do, but you actually need a good attorney. The accountant and the attorney will tell you the pros and cons of being incorporated or just being a sole proprietor or whatever you want to be. They'll give you the pros and cons. We were incorporated. And the biggest reason we were incorporated is because if one of our employees had a wreck, or I had a wreck and hurt somebody else real bad, we got sued, then it would not come to Sandy and Chris Berry. It would go to Berry and Dunn. Now, Berry and Dunn may be out of business. They may be gone, but Chris and Sandy wouldn't be. And that's what we wanted to do, was protect ourselves, and the accountant and the attorney will be able to tell you those things. So now then you've got your accountant, you've got your attorney, you've got what you enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy doing it, I don't care if you make $1 million a year, I beg you, don't do it. It won't last. It will not last. Remember, it's not about the money. You want to be able to get to where I'm at, retirement. And at the end of that retirement, you want to look back and say, you know what? This was a great journey. Now, did I quit? Yes, 1,000 times. Did I start back? 1,001. But that's just part of the journey. And then after you get started, I forgot what time I started, DJ. Okay. So if you're by yourself, or if you have somebody partner with you, okay, I'm going to build red wagons, and they're going to be better than the radio flyers. That's the only way you're going to stay in business. You're going to have to do something that is better than anybody else that does it. Money's not the object. Cost is not the object. The object is I'm going to be better. I'm going to do the best job that I can possibly do. And when you start getting your customers, you go out talking with your customers, it's about the relationship. When we were in business there before we retired, I hired a lot of employees, not a lot, I hired some employees. And if I hired a salesperson, I'm sorry to be correct, if I hired a salesperson, I said, I don't care if you sell anything. I'm not giving you a quota. I'm not giving you any of that. I don't care if you sell anything. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go in customers' offices, and I want you to talk to them. I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to be kind to them. I want you to find something out about them. I want you to build that relationship. And that relationship, in turn, sells anything that you've got, if you've got the relationship. What really, and I shared this with them, when I know you've done your job is when a customer calls you, not me, calls you and says, I need a fax machine. Well, what kind do you need? Well, you know us, whatever we need. Now, you know then you've done your job. You've built a relationship with that customer. They trust you. And so, and I shared with each employee, if you price something to a customer and you price it at the wrong price, I don't care what it is, that's what we're going to sell it at. I'm going to honor, because you're a part of this business, I'm honoring your word. Then you and I will talk about this later, but we're going to sell it to them at that. So it's all about relationship. It's all about being truthful. And this stuff that you've heard all of your life, oh, the customer's always right. No, the customer's not always right. In your heart, you know that if I sell that customer that piece of equipment, it's too small. Within 6 months, they're going to be mad at me because they're killing it. They're working it to death. So no, customer says, I want to buy this machine. Okay, I ask them questions. How are you going to use it? They come back with answers. And then after they do that, I say, well, this machine won't hold up. It's a $1,000 machine. You're going to need this $6,000 machine. No, I want the 1,000. No, I wouldn't sell it to them because you're going to be mad at me. And what I'd come up with was the rule of tens. If one person gets mad at you, they tell 10. If 10 people are happy with you, they tell 1. It's always been work for me. So the only thing I'm sharing, I'm not an expert in this, and by no means, I'm just sharing what worked for us and what didn't work for us. So you always want to treat your customer the way you want to be treated. See, everything goes back to biblical principles. Everything does. Everything. So whatever you've decided to do, the little red wagons, you're going to build those. Stay focused on your journey. It cost me $65 to build this wagon. I'm going to sell it for $95. And the customer down the street has got a little red wagon. He's selling them for $55. Don't worry about him. Keep your eyes focused on your journey. Don't look at Amazon. Customer's going to call you up. Hey, I can buy that same machine $200 cheaper on Amazon. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't match Amazon prices. Oh, but you'll fix it for us. Sure I will. Yeah, I'll be glad to. Behind all of our regular customers. And that's the way we handle that. Don't be the cheapest. You set your goal. You do your thing. Stay on your journey. Stay true to who you are. And it'll all work out just fine. So now we've got that done. You're by yourself, and you're out there working, and your business has grown. Now you've got to hire employees. Oh, boy. Hire an employee, you got to interview them, and you know deep in your heart. And when you interview those, a rule is don't hire them the same day you interview them. Pray about it. Again, biblical principles. Pray about it. So, say I'm going to hire an employee. I've got 2 or 3 employees hired. One of them does something. Biblical principles. Be slow to speak and slow to anger. If they tear something up that day, they do something wrong that day, I'm going to try my best not to say anything that day. I may wait 2 or 3 days later, be in the vehicle with them. Hey, let's take a little ride. Hey, let's go get us a cup of coffee and sit down. And the employees were given a specific instruction. We start at 8 o'clock. We leave at 4:30. I'm going to give you a key. If you want to stay past 4:30, you can. I'm leaving at 4:30. If you're a business owner, you think, well, I can't do that. You can. You can. Now, there's going to be exceptions. But as a general rule, at 4:30, our door closed, and if somebody wanted to stay, I'd run over them, lock the door, then they could let themselves out, lock the door back again. Because you need your time with your family, go back to biblical principles. You need your time. Don't let that business run you, because I promise you it will. And pay yourself. Put yourself on a pay scale every week. If you have to borrow money from the bank, put yourself on a pay scale. You can't be running out and you're broke, and then say, oh, I'm not worried about the money. No, you are. You think, well, I can get $10 more out of that. I can get 15 more out of it. No, pay yourself. You're an employee. Pay yourself. Disciplined. That's the number one thing. If you own your own business, you got to be disciplined. You got to be there at 8 o'clock. You got to leave there at 4:30. And if situations come up, you're going to have to stay longer. But every time, I bet you I can't count. Over 25 years, I worked on a Saturday that many times. I feel like I'm running over here. There's just so much to cover, so much to cover. I'm about finished here. Surround yourself with good employees and vendors. Don't jump around. Get you a vendor, 2 or 3, whatever you're buying from, because then you'll get a relationship, again back to relationship, again back to biblical principles, relationship with Father, relationship with each other, relationship with your vendors, relationship with your customer, relationship. And go back to the employees. You saw so many of these, I guess you'd call them business growth models. They draw a pyramid, and they put the employees here, and they put maybe a vice president or an associate there, and they come up here and they put the president on top. Y'all saw that, where they draw the pyramid? If you're in business, turn it over. Turn it over. Your employees are on top. You're on the bottom. It all comes to you. It's your responsibility. Don't hang them out there. Put them on top. So, in closing, I hope I hadn't run too far over. There's just so much to do. Golly. In the book of Corinthians, Paul said, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gives the increase. Now, I hope I've shown to you here, I know nothing about business. I know absolutely nothing about pie charts and floating charts and all this kind of stuff that goes up and down, market trends, and I don't know anything about that. But I've been taught relationship. And if I got any encouragement for anybody, you can do it. Enjoy it. Follow the steps. Build the relationship. And God provides the increase. Thank you all very much, and I hope I hadn't confused you too much, and I hope I hadn't wiped everything out somebody else has said.
Oh, that was so good. Thank you so much, Chris and Miss Sandy. We appreciate hearing from you, and I just want hours of this, just to be able to sit and listen. I want to hear more stories, and I want to hear more encounters that you guys had. So we're going to have coffee sometime. I guess I know a great coffee shop just right down the way here. And so thank you so much. We honor you. And in fact, I had a couple questions rolling around in my brain, and you answered them just throughout. And so thank you. Actually, one of them was, is the customer really always right? And you answered it directly. So thank you for that. That was awesome, and it's just going to keep getting awesome because we've got Ryan and Abigail here in the house with us. So let's honor them for being here tonight and for what they do. And you guys share what you do, because you do a lot.
Well, thank you very much, Pastor DJ and Mr. Chris. That was phenomenal. You kept saying stuff, and I'm like, we don't even need to go up there anymore. He's just covering it all, but such rich wisdom and knowledge. So thank you for plowing ahead of us. And you mentioned your age, but I've forgotten exactly what it was, 68. Okay, so I'm less than half your age. So I get up here, I'm like, I'm not adequate to sit up here and talk about business leadership, 31 years old. But I've been in business for over 10 years now, and I did start very young, and I've learned a lot, probably a lot of it the hard way, probably, because I didn't go about it the right way. But before we get started, I will introduce and say a little bit about ourselves. Abigail Ryan Gordon. We've been married for 8.5 years. We have 3 daughters, Eliza, Ada Ray, and Avalie. Most of you probably already know this, but we are passionate about business and entrepreneurship, and it's been in our hearts for a long time. People joke and say that, well, it's true what I did, but excuse me, I used to set up clothes I was getting rid of in my bedroom, and I would tell my sisters, like, hey, if anybody wants to come, like, I've got clothes that I'm getting rid of, not telling them, like, they're going to have to pay me for it. So I was selling my clothes to my sisters when I was younger, and my family likes to tease me about that. But we own a few businesses currently, some that are in the past, but I currently own Steps of Grace Dance Studio. We just are in year 10 right now of that, and I'll share a little bit more about that later. But we also used to own Quality Cutters. It was a lawn, landscape, and tree service business that we when we stepped into Well Restored Properties, which is this property in the plaza, we managed that business, and we recently, back in early April, purchased Alabaster Coffee Company, and then we opened Well Made out here. And then another business that I've was involved in for almost my entire life was my grandparents' fireworks stand, and I learned a lot about business from my grandparents and how to treat a customer, how to deal with problems that come up, and managing money and marketing and just so many different things, and I'm so thankful for that. So before we get started, I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of a preface, and we'll kind of jump back and forth. But your business can be a ministry, and for some people it is a ministry if you already are thinking that way. But your business can be a ministry when you lead with passion, integrity, and excellence. And I not bring my phone up here. Eliza, can you bring mommy my phone? I wanted to preface with this scripture. Thank you, sweetie. I wanted to preface with Philippians 4:12-14, because we're going to be preaching to ourselves as we share this tonight. This is not anything that we feel that we have arrived, and I don't think we ever will arrive. But it says, not that I have already attained or am already perfected, but I press on that I may lay hold of that for which Christ Jesus has also laid hold of me. Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, all those mistakes, those failures, those things we've learned for, and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. I press toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. And so our goal is to make an impact in any business that we're involved in. Our goal is to make an impact in our community and in the people who we do business with. Business reaches people who may never enter a church. So when you look at your business as a ministry, you have access to people that may never step in the doors of a church here or anywhere else. And so it's offering us a platform to reflect God's love. Find joy in your work as a gift from God. And then lastly, be diligent in using your gifts for impact.
So once we had the topic of business leadership, we were discussing it because this topic is, you could speak for hours on all days, on all kinds of stuff that would fit in this topic. But we prayed about it and kind of felt in our heart what we're going to go over is foundation to business leadership. Like nothing else matters unless this is put in place and you're practicing it. And like she said, we're not professionals. We learn it, we implement it, we practice it. We make changes, we adapt, we shift, whatever we got to do, we got to keep moving. And I'll start with our first point there, lead yourself first. And a couple points under that topic is feed yourself to feed others. Success starts at home. You must lead yourself before leading others. And you must be committed to personal growth and character development. Focus on the 5 facets of your life, which is spiritual, mental, or emotional health, relationships, health and fitness, and finances. Yeah. Be committed to personal growth and character development. Focus on the 5 facets of life: spiritual, mental or emotional, relationships, health and fitness, and financial. If I go too fast, y'all just stop me. To grow, you need resources and relationships. Books, mentors, and peers fuel growth. Oh, skipped one. Growth must be intentional, useful, and continual. Turn desire into decisions. Don't fake it till you make it. Learn it till you earn it. And then to grow, you need resources and relationships. Books, mentors, peers, they all fuel your growth. And if you look at any successful entrepreneur, I guarantee you they have a business coach or a mentor behind all of it. So be a leader that believes there's always more, because there always is. We can always be better. Tripod of success is discipline, diligence, and determination. And a good definition of discipline I've heard is removing the unnecessary to stay focused. If you, there's an example, I forget the artist, sculptor's name, but he talks about it's the masterpiece is in there. He just sculpts all the unnecessary stuff away from it. Yeah. The main thing I've learned about this section of leading yourself, and this was talked about before too, is you gotta, in business, you're either gonna control your business or it's gonna control you. So you have to set boundaries, you have to have priorities, and that's what every decision should be filtered through, are the boundaries and priorities. And if us, it's God, family, then it's your business. So you have to be intentional and be focused, and you have to be, wherever you are, you need to be there. So you need to have set times, okay, this is business, okay, this is family. And during family, because you can be present somewhere, but not present somewhere. There could be people calling you about something, or you're having to take care of something, or if you're chasing money, you're going to be running 24/7. So when it's family time, it's family time. Unless it's something that's on fire and right in front of your face, it can wait. So you have to be very intentional, and that's hard for me, because I'm very productive, efficient. We got to get this done and this done. So, but really, if you have balance, you won't get burned out.
That's good. I tell Ryan some weeks, I'm like, just call me Firefighter Abby, because I feel like I'm just running around putting out fires all day. It's true. Sometimes there are things that come up and you have to take care of them as the business owner, but that's true. Number 2 is lead for others. Be a leader that leads for others. Add value to people by calling out their greatness, edifying, and exhorting. This is one of those areas that I say I'm preaching to myself, because I can get in work mode and it's just work. I don't look at people as a person sometimes. I look at it as a business transaction, and I have to remind myself, like, this is a person that I care about this person. I know the Lord cares about this person. Why am I, it's hard to find that balance, but thinking of others. Have something to give something. You have to have something to give something. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not filled up, you don't have, you've not fed yourself, like Ryan said, you're not going to have anything to give. You can build skills and character to share with others. Don't be selfish. Don't hold it for yourself. If you have these skills, you have knowledge, you have wisdom, be willing to share it with others. You know, walk out with an open hand and not gripped like, this is mine, this is my skill. Open up and share those skills with others. Focus on people, not money. Want more for others than from them. That's something I've experienced in years of working in the finance department. A lot of times people come because they need something from me. You know, hey, can I get a check? Can I get a card? Can I get this? Can I get that? And you get to a place you're like, how about, hey, how are you doing today? You know, it can kind of, you feel depleted. You don't want to be that person that's depleting others either. So want more for others than from them. And the last point here is clear communication. Communication is so important in everything, relationships, in your business. Be intentional. Vision without communication is confusion. And you may know the quote, lack of communication breeds wild imagination. Be clear in your communication, clear in your expectations, especially if you have employees that are working for you. I've come in many times before, and they're like, well, what are we supposed to be doing? What do we do? And I was like, I didn't clearly communicate what I was expecting of them or what this was going to look like. And you have to, that's on me. You know, you have to, as we'll talk about in a little bit, have humility to admit that you were wrong. So clear communication, vision without communication is confusion. These are your core four. Share your vision, your mission, your values, and principles. And then something I added down here was, this is probably not on your fill in the blank because I've just got it in my pen. Keep perspective. Don't give up what you have chasing what you want. Don't give up time with your family. Don't give up something you already have because you're chasing something that you want. Yes, keep perspective and don't give up what you have chasing what you want.
All right, number 3, embrace learning, which is growth, and unlearning. So the first point is learn, unlearn, and relearn. So ask yourself, what do I need to learn today that I didn't know yesterday? What do I need to let go of today that I held on to yesterday? And what do I need to change today that I was doing yesterday? Stay humble, be a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. And most success is going to come from letting things go. So unlearn limiting habits or beliefs. So your most success is going to come from unlearning things. Unlearn limiting habits or beliefs. Then the 3 zones of life. There's a coasting zone, which means you're doing nothing. You're just kind of coasting through life. And then there's a comfort zone, which is your familiarity, doing what you already know. You're just comfortable. You're in the day in, day out process. And then there's your challenge zone. We should always be looking to challenge ourselves. Doing what you haven't done, this is where the growth happens. Everything that you need or want in life that you don't already have is outside your comfort zone. And there's one thing in business I've learned, a lot of it's just as your perspective. And you can look at problems as challenges. They're a workout for you. Comfort is the enemy's cage. Procrastination is perfectionism in disguise. You can't perfect what you don't start. Then number 4, overcome obstacles. You need to be aware of assassins, which are delay, perfectionism, and distraction. Set boundaries to protect your focus. So you need to be very self-aware of yourself. What are your weaknesses? What are your distractions? What is distracting you for fulfilling your assignment that God has given you? And you need to get rid of those. Delay, perfectionism, and distraction. So set boundaries to protect your focus. Speed kills, smooth is fast. Prioritize steady progress. And an example of that, you can rush into things and do it wrong, and then you have to go backwards, which is going to cost money, cost time, cost progress. And it's going to take more time and more money than originally it would have in the beginning. So just make sure smooth is fast. So that's systems, that's procedures, that's just a constant flow. Don't rush into nothing. The next point, you can't steer a boat unless you're moving. Action kills fear. Sometimes you have it figured out, and sometimes you figure it out as you go. So always take action. You can adapt it as you go. How you handle disappointment is going to be a great asset to you. Faith that isn't tested can't be trusted. Then are you willing to do what others won't? Operate with urgency and an I won't quit mindset. Then some common hurdles are failure. In a lot of the world aspect, failure is a negative, but failure, I've learned, like if it costs you money, you paid to learn something. So you paid to take a class, you went to school. You have to look at it as a positive. So always learn from your failures. Make your failures propel you forward. Yep. And the only failure is when you just quit. And then there's self-promotion, which other word, ego. And ego is going to be the number one killer in your life and in your business. Then perfectionism. I don't know if everybody's heard the saying paralysis by analysis. There's no perfect plan. You can sit and think of 100 different plans. Just choose one and go with it and perfect it as you go.
The last point there, number 5, we've got a few minutes left. Hopefully we can get it in, but be faithful is what mine is titled. The goal is not more money. I think a lot of times when people think business, they're like, oh, I'm going to start a business because I can make more money. And that's why I started Steps of Grace is I had been working at the church since I was like 14 years old, and I was 15, 16, 17, I was 19, and I was like, I need a side hustle. I just want to make some more money. And I was like, okay, what can I do? I took dance all growing up. I was like, I could teach little girls dance. I'll do that. So that's back when you put like paper sign-up sheets out for things. You didn't have it all digital. So I put a sign-up sheet out at the info booth at church, and I think I had like 15 girls sign up. And I was like, wow. This is awesome. This is exciting. I was charging maybe $20 a month, something like that. And I taught classes once a week with those girls in classroom 1. And that was 10 years ago. And so at that time, when I thought, I wasn't really even thinking of it as a business at that time. I just wanted more money. But that's not the goal. Now that I'm 10 years into this, I realize it's not always about more money. Be faithful. Faithfulness equals multiplication. And I look at faithfulness sometimes as consistency. There were times, I'll share kind of I think of it as a testimony. I don't in any way want this to come across as bragging in any way. This is truly a testimony of the Lord, and I, a lot of times sharing this, get emotional because of how good God has been, but that faithfulness equals multiplication or consistency. There were times that I was like, this is not worth it. There were 4 girls that showed up, but every week I kept coming back and teaching until they told a friend, and the friend told a friend, and now here we are. You can put up the picture from the very first Steps of Grace recital. There's 22 girls on the stage plus me. 5 of them are my sisters. But this was our very first recital here on this stage at the church several years ago. And like I said, there's 22 students, and then our most recent recital that was in the first weekend in June, you can put that picture up. This is one of 3 recitals. We had over 170, I think it was just under 180 students dancing between the 3 recitals, and we have 23 classes a week, and I don't teach any of those classes anymore because the Lord has provided employees. He saw that I was faithful in that, and He gave me more. It makes me think of in Luke 19:17, it says, "And He said to him, 'Well done, good servant. You were faithful in very little. Have authority over 10 cities.'" And He gives you more when you're faithful with that little. So I want that to be a testimony of what God can do when you're faithful in the little. Don't give up. Don't quit. Don't think, oh, it's just not going to work out. I'm just going to try something else. But stay consistent. Be faithful. God promotes those who steward what they have, not those who chase what they don't have. Be consistent. Stay in your strength zone. If you've never baked a muffin before, maybe don't go open a bakery, right? So find out, you need to like what you're doing, right? As Mr. Chris said, don't just be like, oh, that sounds like a good business idea. I'm just going to go do that, but you don't enjoy it. You have no strengths in that area. So stay in your strength zone.
That I want to add one point to that. That even goes with managing employees. Find their strength zones. Put them in that position. Find out where you're most valuable out and get yourself in that position. So,
Work is worship. Do everything as unto the Lord, Colossians 3:23, and do it with urgency and focus. I am working on the focus part with 3 young children. I'm always thinking like, oh, did I pack them lunch? Do they have this? Do they have that? I need to get there. But you can get a lot done if you have that focused time and you're not jumping from here to there and everywhere. And then only work where you see God working. Pay attention to what grows under your care. And that last point there is set boundaries and protect your priorities. So that may be family, mental health, your Sabbath, your schedule. So set those boundaries. Boundaries are biblical. You talked about a lot of things, Mr. Chris, that you said it's biblical, and it's true. There's so many principles. We get them from the Word of God. But setting boundaries is one of those. And so yes, go ahead.
I want to add to that. Physical health is important too, because as a business leader, you're going to be under high demand. You're going to have to operate at a high level. It's going to create stress. So taking care of yourself will manage your stress, will manage your mentalness, your anxieties. It'll help you take on the loads and be able to stay through a long period of time.
Yeah, that's true. So as a conclusion, I'm just going to kind of recap what we did, and if there were any blanks that we missed, let us know. But your business is a ministry when led with faith, humility, action, excellence, all of those things we talked about. And then lead yourself, serve others, learn. Maybe you need to unlearn, right? Things that you've been doing and you realize it's not the right way to do it. Overcome obstacles and stay faithful. Faithfulness leads to multiplication. Be a learner, a leader, and a light. Make an impact. And ask yourself, is my business reflecting the heart of God? Because it's not as we found out, it's not just about us. It's not just to profit us. It's not just to get a bigger bank account. You need to make sure that your goal is to make an impact on others as you're serving Him in kingdom, in a kingdom business and in the marketplace. I'm going to I think at this time we're going to take a 5-minute break. So if you need to go to the restroom, get a drink of water, and then we'll start back maybe about 7:30. Thank you.
When night has fallen, when fear is coming, still you're calling me. When faith is lost and my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. Yeah, I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go now. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. In every season, you keep repeating promises to me. Whoa, now there's no stopping what you have started until it is complete. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. Yeah, I decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. No, I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. Yeah, I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. No, I feel it breaking out, breaking out. Hey, your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. No, I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. In my hands up. Goodbye, yesterday. I'm living in the light of a new day. I won't waste another minute in my old ways. Praise the Lord, I've been born again. Goodbye, yesterday. I'm living in the light of a new day. I won't waste another minute in my old ways. Praise the Lord, I've been
All right, guys, let's bring it in. Well, this has been so good so far, hasn't it? Yeah, I wish we had hours and hours and hours, but I think that's where the relationship comes in, right? And so I would encourage you guys, even as a thank you to our teachers, maybe you have some more follow-up questions. I know it's their heart to be able to help, but maybe you could offer to buy them lunch someday or a coffee or something like that. Get that relationship time with them, but then also bless them for being a blessing to us. So there you go, guys. And y'all can invite me too, because my stomach is growling right now. But in all seriousness, this has been so good. So now we're going to have a little Q&A time. What we're going to do is read some of those questions that were submitted earlier, and then we will go from there. So Ryan, Abigail, you guys can come take a seat. Mr. Chris, you're welcome to come up here as well. And Miss Sandy, if you have anything to respond or add, you just give me the elbow, okay?
No, she did work. She was important. Oh, we own her there.
That's right.
She did.
That's right. It's your mic turned on.
Is it? No.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and read some questions, and then you guys can just give a response. Whoever has something to respond to directly, feel free, and then we'll just move down the list. So question number 1, how do you recommend handling disgruntled employees and staffing shortages? Let's start with a juicy one.
Disgruntled employees. Got a lesson from my mentor. He's passed away now about 3 or 4 months ago, and gave me a lot of wisdom as far as what he was telling me. He said, Chris, and you may have heard this, I hadn't until he told me. He said, Chris, preach everywhere you go, use words only when necessary. That's how you handle disgruntled employees, is you show you're there, you're not here and them down there. They're right here. And be personal. Again, we go back to relationship. A disgruntled employee, talk with them. Don't shy away. Tell us, hey, what's going on? What can I do to help you? And put them in a position of, hey, if I ask for help, I'm going to get it. And that's the way that we always handle disgruntled employees. Some of them, we're going to be disgruntled, and that's okay. They're going to be disgruntled employees, and they're going to leave and go somewhere else. That's okay.
I agree with all that too. And another perspective also is you can put yourself in their shoes, looking from their perspective, and ask yourself if you're in their shoes. But ask yourself, would you follow yourself? Would you want your children to follow you? Would you be happy in their position? It goes back to that, I forget how it's put in there, but stay in your strength zone. Maybe that's not their strength. Sorry, I got a minute. Maybe that's not their strength zone. So they're not happy, they're not being fulfilled. Even hiring, ask yourself, would you take that job? Would you, just kind of look at yourself first. But then also, I agree, communication. Find out where they're at, what they're thinking, because like we said, lack of communication breeds wild imaginations.
Yeah. I would say to get to the root, have those hard conversations that I definitely am like, oh, it's like confrontational. No, thank you. I'll just let it go, sweep it under the rug. No, you have to have those hard conversations and get to the root of it. And a lot of times you may find out they actually weren't disgruntled and you just heard that from another employee and they're the one that's disgruntled and they're saying things to other people, but get to the root of it and do the hard things and be humble, stay in humility to admit maybe it's a legitimate frustration that they have and you caused it, and maybe it was lack of communication or something along those lines, and be humble to admit, oh, I'm so sorry, I was wrong. I didn't tell you that I was expecting that of you. And they felt, yeah, used or abused in some way. So,
Awesome.
And as far as staff shortages, we at times would find ourselves 1, 2, maybe 3 people down. Well, one of those situations was a local big business called me to their place and said, hey, we want you to maintain our equipment. And I had over several hundred pieces of equipment. And I had to be honest with them. I don't have the people to do it. I'm sorry. Love to take it. Huge payday, huge money. But we couldn't keep the standard of our business up if we had took that. And they wanted it 24/7. I said, I can't do it. I'm just sorry. Just be honest with the customer. I'm sorry, we can't do that. Find yourself in a staff shortage, you may just have to tell customers, hey, I'm sorry, we're shorthanded today. We'll get to you just as soon as we possibly can.
The most powerful word you can learn is no. Because if he would have chased the money in that deal, he wouldn't have no life.
Absolutely.
That's good. Thank you, guys. Another one that has to do with your employees. What is the best advice to give a business owner when leading a business with multiple employees of different beliefs? And then there's a second one, specifically when viewing the place of business as a ministry to both consumers and employees. So I'd love to hear from you guys on that. What's the best advice to give a business owner when leading a business with multiple employees of different beliefs?
I think that goes to sharing Christ by your example, not necessarily by preaching to them, but how you run your business, how you treat your employees, how you treat your customers. Let your actions minister to them, and eventually that's going to open up doors.
Awesome.
I would say I've been in that situation before, where I had an employee that maybe felt very differently about a situation than I did, or maybe there was offense to other people that I was, related to. So I could tell there's tension and things going on. But I would say to stand firm and set a standard. You, as the business owner, you have a standard to set, and they are going to follow that standard if they're a good employee. And to have self-control and to refrain from, say, a conversation that you hear them talking about that offense or that situation, that difference in belief, to refrain from maybe, unless you have the right words and can handle it in the right way. In my situation, I chose to refrain from involving myself in the conversation with those employees at that time. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. So another one, also about people. Do you have any advice on working with others, peers, boss, or anyone else?
Just as I was speaking at the beginning, turn the pyramid upside down.
Yeah.
Put yourself at the bottom. It all funnels down to you. They have a problem. You find out, you just go and say, hey, what can I do to help you? Mm-hmm. And as Ryan said, put yourself in their place. Yeah. Put yourself right there. Okay, this is what's happened. Yeah. So, again, it goes back to communication. It goes back to respect. It goes back to biblical principles. How do you want to be treated?
I would say put yourself in their shoes. That's something I, over the last couple of years, have daily been reminding myself is put yourself in their shoes, in their situation. How would you want to be treated? How would you want to be talked to? How would you want this situation to be handled? And that helps you so much. Even with my 6-year-old, I try to put myself in her shoes. I'm like, how is she feeling right now? And I'm saying this, this, and this. And I could be harming her, hurting her if but when I put myself in their shoes. So yeah, put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself those questions. Are you enjoyable to work with? Do people like working with you? Ask yourself. I don't know, and that's not something you want to go ask other people. Like, am I enjoyable to work with? Do you like working with me? Because then they might be like, oh yeah, I love working with you. But you have to do that self-examination. And then, yeah, treat others with kindness. Yeah.
And it could be vice versa. Maybe it's not you, but it's them, and you're having to deal with them. And that's just give them Christ. And you're going to have to take the rest of it. But take it to Christ, don't carry it.
Great. Thank you, guys. All right, next question. There's two of them. One, what are the best ways to keep the Lord first in your business? And then also, what are the fundamental principles of having a successful business? So you can you take one and then somebody answer the other, or however you want to do it. So what are the best ways to keep the Lord first in your business? And then what are the fundamental principles of having a successful business?
I think the best ways to keep the Lord first in your business goes to your vision, your mission, your values, and your principles, the core for your business, because everything should operate off of that. You shouldn't have the entrepreneurial mindset. You should have the vision mindset. If you fulfill those core four, the business, the entrepreneurial stuff will come itself. And if you operate that and it's biblical and it's Christ-centered, that's your first mission is doing what the Lord assigned you to do. Fundamental principles, I'd have to say, of course, having your vision. You have to have, think of a jigsaw puzzle. If you didn't have that cover to see that picture, it's going to be very hard to get to the finish line. So your vision is important. You must have a spirit of excellence, integrity, and in turn, it needs to be adding value to the people and the community, creating impact.
If you didn't get a copy of the paper out front, it's the copy that says mission statement. And that sums everything I tried to say tonight up, is that. I had that hanging on beside my desk, and I had to keep reminding myself to read that. And can you want to? Oh, thank you.
It's a good thing to read.
Okay, the mission statement, and it goes along with the question Pastor DJ asked. Although I have the communication skills of men and of angels and have not love, I am nothing but a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And if I can predict marketing trends and have a total grasp of production techniques, and although I have the kind of positive thinking that can do, people say is the secret for success, and have not love, it really does no lasting good. And although I make all the sacrifices so there can be better wages for my workers and make sure that they have all the fringe benefits possible and do not show them love, it will leave them grumbling and discontent. Love teaches me to put up with a lot of things that would ordinarily make me angry, and it makes me into a listening, positive, or sensitive person. It keeps me from acting like a big shot and going on ego trips. Love keeps me from being rude to even the lowliest worker in the company. It keeps me from always demanding that things be done my way. It keeps me from blowing up at the least little thing, and it prevents me from keeping files on all the mistakes made by people under me. Love gets no satisfaction out of the failures of others, even when their failures guarantee that I will get a promotion.
That's a great answer. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. All right, next one. How has running a business helped you become a better steward of other areas in your life?
I would say some other areas in our life that we've become better stewards of, things that we've learned from business, is in our finances. Having a budget if you don't have a budget personally or for your business, I suggest that you do that, knowing where your money is going and why it's going there. Maybe there's money that's being spent that you don't know is being spent, but know your numbers. That's an area that every month, we sit down together before the beginning of a new month, and we go through our budget together, and we know where every dollar is going. And so that's something that I think, because of business, I had to do that with business. And so now we do it personally, and I think it's a great thing. With our time, with our family, managing our time is probably something that we had to do with business, and now are learning, oh, wait a second, we might need to do that with our time at home. Also, managing your time and not just sitting around and thinking, oh, this will get done and I'll have time with them later. Time goes by quick if you haven't realized it. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, got to cook dinner, got to get the children in the bed. So that's something personally I think that we've learned because of being in business.
You should manage your time just the same way as you manage your money. So as you give every dollar a name, you can put it towards something. You need to put your time towards something too. That keeps you focused and intentional on what you're doing.
For me, I guess the biggest thing was patience. Patience of not knowing everything. Patience of, if somebody brings something to me, let me think about that. Let me pray about that. Patience of, okay, they smarted off, spouted, a employee did, or a customer. Let me think about that. And then if I have to go back to them, and patience is probably the number one thing that running a business has taught me.
Thank you, guys. All right. What are strategies to get back into the green after a financial crisis and work being slow?
I think you should start with what you have. We're talking about budgets, reevaluate your cost, see where you can cut costs to save money. Look at areas where you can make your business more efficient so you're not wasting time, because wasted time is wasted money. And then when your work's being slow, you use that time to go out or work on getting more work. Don't wait for it to come to you. I know when I did Quality Cutters, I started with a certain amount of yards, but it didn't keep me busy. So if I wasn't doing yards, I was out putting door hangers up. I was keeping my hours whether I had something to do or not. And eventually I didn't have to do that anymore. I had too much work than I could think of.
I hate to say, well, yeah, I am proud to say this. I never had that problem. We started off like shaking a Coca-Cola bottle and had your thumb over the end of it and let it go. And our business started off that fast. And, some of the hardships and things that we didn't really have to go through, but some of the hardships of other things we had to go through. Biggest thing was my learning. And like a business owner, that's going to be the biggest thing of yours. You're learning and de-learning and relearning over again. So, but I've never run out of anything to do. Yeah. Never.
I would say a strategy that you could use to get back in the green after a crisis or work being slow. I guess a marketing aspect that you could use that's free is ads on Facebook, promoting your business on Facebook. Or if you want to be a little more relational and start building those relationships, you can make phone calls. I remember times where I was calling old students that they dropped out, didn't tell me why. I'd give them a call. Hey, hope you're doing good. I hope Aubrey's doing good. Did she start first grade? We would love to have her back. Like, oh, we've just been so busy. I'm like, well, we just added a new class. We have jazz now, da-da-da. And you're building that relationship, but you're promoting your business, and it's taking a little bit of your time, but it's not taking any money. Not actual, it didn't cost you $50 to make that phone call or send an email or a text message. So there's a lot of free marketing you can use if you are trying to gain more business. You can even, some businesses like Ryan was going door to door and putting door hangers on, and then next thing you know, the neighbor, he'd start mowing one yard and then the neighbor would see and he's talking to them and asking questions. And so having your presence out there, I know something we did when we were trying to get more business was putting a magnet on the side of his truck with the phone number and the business name. Like, okay, now we're driving around town and people are seeing our business name and our phone number. So there's different marketing avenues you can take. You can run a promo. But I would say to set a goal. I don't have like a specific business. I guess I could use one of our businesses, but set a goal. Say like, I want 20 new clients. And now you have a goal in mind. And it works well for me when I set a goal and then I have something to run after. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, follow-up question. What is the best way to do market research for a new business? And actually, something that comes to my mind, Chris, what you were telling us in my office a few days ago about maybe even calling somebody that was in that business, maybe even another district, another town, somebody that's not going to be a competitor for you. And so maybe you can even start by expounding on that, and then if you guys have anything to add on that. But I just wanted to hear from you directly on that one.
Yeah, that was the guy that we had called in Virginia that had started his business like 5 years before that, and he gave a lot of good information for us to market to what to do, what not to do. He was one that said, "Hey, number one, get you a good accountant, get you good vehicles with names on the side of them, just market all these things that we have that we went through with Barry and Dunn. My wife and I, if we stop and think about it, it's common sense, just common sense. What would catch my eye? And that's what you try to implement. How would I want that person to talk to me? That's how you talk to them. And to open up the big markets, as Ryan said a while ago, we could be working on a piece of equipment here, and somebody would see our truck sitting in a parking lot. And we get a phone call, "Hey, can you come over here and look at this?" Yeah, we can. So that'd be the thing that happened to us, and that's what he shared with me up in Virginia, to find you a mentor or find you somebody just to call, and no matter what kind of business you're starting, and you just got to enjoy it and call them up. And like I said a while ago, be glad to share with anybody, anything. Any business owner that inspires for other people to be a success and get ahead, they're more than tickled to death to share with you anything that they can.
I think another avenue you could do is go to Google, type in what your ideal is, see what comes up. Is there things that pop up? Is there content there? How many are there? Go look at their websites. What are they doing? What are they offering? How many reviews are there? You can go to Amazon. Are they writing books about it? Is there buyers for this thing if they're on Amazon or the books? And see, like when you do Google or Amazon, there's usually ads. So is there competition out there? Are people advertising what your ideal is? And competition's good. I mean, the evidence of competition is a good indicator that your ideal works. So.
All right, well, I have a question. Are there any books that you guys would recommend written from a kingdom mindset, like a Christian mindset for business specifically?
John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
I would say you couldn't go wrong with a lot of John Maxwell. I'm trying to think of one right now. Give me a minute. You got anything?
I'm not a reader. I do listen to some books I've listened to, but more recently they've been about family and marriage and things like that, which all go into, can lead into your business and being successful in that area. But to be completely honest with you, I read my Bible and I have a hard time finding time to read other things.
The Bible actually has a lot of scripture about business. And we can work on getting a list of those if you need them, but the Bible actually does have a lot of stuff about business and making money. Well,
thank you. Chris, did you ever, fully describe this picture?
I'm sorry,
Did you fully describe this picture for us?
I did not.
Why don't you do that?
Okay, you got a picture there of a crane, what do you call them, stork? We're gonna call it a stork. And you got the frog. The stork is trying to swallow the frog, and if you'll look, the frog has got his hands around the stork's throat. It's impossible for that stork to swallow that frog. I've had that when I worked at Scottsboro Business Equipment hanging beside my desk. Anytime I get ready to give up, I look at that. So you know what? If you saw a stork with a frog about to swallow it, you say, that frog's gone. He's had it. This one didn't ever give up. In business, anything that you feel like God's laid on your heart, don't give up. You may have people saying it ain't gonna work. Forget it. We were told that when we started in our business in 2000. Sandy and I were told it won't work. You won't make it. We felt like God put it in our heart, and He has really blessed us through relationships, through, I think somebody shared a while ago about the ministry. You go out while you're in business, you get open doors to people that don't ever walk the door into the church or anything. You get that open door to share. So don't ever give up.
I think to add to that, if you're starting a business or you're in business, I mean, you have to go into the mindset there's no other option. Burn the ship, because that way you're going to fight. If you have an out, you're going to give up. So you just got to keep fighting.
Who was it? Elijah or Elisha burn all their farm equipment?
It wasn't going back.
Back to biblical principles again.
Awesome. Well, those are the ones that were turned in. We have a few more moments. Maybe if you did not have a chance to submit a question and you have one for these guys, we'll take as many as we can, but we'll just reserve it for those for now who have not had a chance to ask that question yet. Anybody in here? The hard one? You're asking them, not me.
So when you're about to hire someone, what are the traits you look for during the interview?
I think one good one, are they going to align with your vision? Is their calling part of your company's calling? You don't just hire to fill a spot, because that's going to lead to a lot of problems. Or I guess, do they catch the vision when you give it to them?
When we interviewed an employee, I knew quite a bit about them before they ever came in. The way technology is today, most people have Facebooks. Most people have friends on that Facebook also. You can read their Facebook, see what they post, get a good feel of what is important in this person's life. If they don't have Facebook, maybe you can find out who they put down for a reference. Call those people up. Call them for a reference. Say, hey, look, they put you down here for a reference. You must have a good relationship with them, or they wouldn't have put you down for a reference. And can you tell me about them, but just leave all the good stuff out and tell me the bad stuff. And sometimes they will. And then when that employee or potential employee comes in, are they looking at me in the eyes? Are they being honest with me? Ask them, hey, have you ever got a ticket, even a speeding ticket, have you ever got one? No, I've never had a ticket. No. Well, later on, you find out during their talking, well, that was a long time ago. I didn't think you meant that. Disqualified immediately. And I always tell the employees, tell me the truth always. No matter how bad it hurts, tell me the truth. You're going to break something. So I try to find out as much as I can about them before they ever walk in the door.
I'll add to that too. It goes with hiring and getting new clients as well. Something we do is kind of have filters or screens in the process so you're not wasting your time. So like if they turn in a resume, we give them an application to fill out. If they never turn the application in, they're already gone. So they're not following directions. Do they fill out everything? Do they give references? Okay, if they don't do that, then why? Or if you look at the job history, they've only been there for a year and they've gone through 6 jobs, they're out. Call the references, like you said, and get all those. but have screens to go through. And if they make it through the whole process, then you get an interview. And then you screen the interview. So, same with clients too. Because, I mean, when I did Quality Cutters, I had clients I had to fire. They weren't worth the money. I mean, it didn't matter what you did, you couldn't please them. And I'm like, well, I'm obviously not the best fit for you. And then have another company refer them. So fire them, but have them somewhere they can go. But still, when you're getting new clients, have them things too. Are they following your directions? Are they doing it like, are they going to be a benefit or are they going to be a nuisance?
I've got a funny one. So I was hearing Dave Ramsey, who leads the Entree Leadership, talk about a mechanic that he talked to that said, for all of the grouchy customers, potential customers that come in, I keep a stack of my competitors' business cards on my desk. And I say, you know what, I really don't think I have what it takes to help you, but this guy right here, I think that he could really help you out. And so there you go, interviewing your customers, right? Yeah. Who else has a question?
I'm sorry, I don't have a question, but I wanted to say something about books and authors that might help from a biblical aspect. And David Green is a gentleman that started Hobby Lobby. And he's written several books, but he's written a book on Hobby Lobby, and it's titled More Than a Hobby. And I was employed there, and they do practice the standards of the Bible, but you're only as good as your employees. And anyway, I no longer work for Hobby Lobby, but that was my choice. But I can tell you that they took the extent to send people to classes. They had ministers on staff that would travel to different stores. They had the option to have Bible studies before work began, and they allowed a lot of biblical principles to be put in place. But if you get a chance to read one of his books, they're pretty good.
Anybody else?
Okay, so we talked about disgruntled employees. What if you have someone you just need to let go, or even like a customer that you just need to let go, and it's not something a conversation is going to fix, it's just a conversation that needs to be had? How can you handle that while still keeping like excellence, still keeping like you don't want to ruin your witness at all kind of thing?
Yes. So the way, and I'm not saying this is the perfect way to go about it, but I have seen success going about it this way. With Steps of Grace, there's been disgruntled parents, clients that I think it's time for you to go. They're a headache. I go about it in a way of kindness, truth. I don't necessarily sugarcoat it and make up, oh, it's because of this, this, and this. I tell them your student is being a distraction in our class. We're not able to effectively teach because of the rowdiness or the tantrums. And, I communicate it in a very professional way, but I'm clear and to the point, and you can always offer other references, other places, but it's difficult. It's not something like you said, it's not a conversation that you want to have, but needs to be had. And I always just try to go about it with professionalism, but still with kindness and not in a frustrated way like, oh, can you please just take your student? She's really being an issue for us. But kind of how you word it is important.
Yeah, you're exactly right with kindness. Depends on the individual that you're talking to, the employee you're talking to. An example, I did hire a young guy a few years back, and he was a young guy, and talking to him, I thought, you've got the skills to be a technician, I think. And so I told him, I said, if you take the job, I'm going to train you personally. And so as I was training him, he took the job, and I was training him, I got to noticing he could not stay focused on the job. He could do good if I was there, but if he went out on his own, it just couldn't hardly stay focused on it. And while I was training him during that time, I remember he was talking about driving a dump truck. And that's, my family, he had that in his system, driving a dump truck. So there came that point in time, and if you put it off, it'll get worse. You have to deal with it. And you'll know when it's time. I don't know how, but you'll know when it's time. And I called him aside one day and I said, hey, your heart's really not here, is it? Well, yeah, I kind of like what I do. I said, but your heart is actually in a dump truck, isn't it? Well, my family's all drove, and I'm going to. I said, if you're working here, I'm going to hold you back. Don't ever do anything that you're not fully enjoy doing. And so I was able to let him go on real good terms that way. But there are some employees that no matter what you do, they will not leave on good terms. No matter what you do, no matter how you can ask them, what have I done? How can I help? What needs to change? They're bound to determine they're going to leave. They're going to leave, and the longer you delay it, the worse it's going to be.
And I would also say, pray about it. There's been so many times where I'm really bothered by it, and I know I need to say something about it, and I haven't, and I'm praying about it. How do I say it? And the Lord takes care of it for you, and you don't ever have to have the conversation. Many times that's happened with employees and clients. So.
Who's next?
Hey, I would like to ask, do you have any other personal testimonies of steps of faith or leaps of faith where you stuck out and the Lord bridged a gap for you in a way where you're just blown away, or just testimony of what the Lord did?
Yeah, I'm thinking of a time that Ryan was working down the road at Tri-Green, the John Deere dealership, had a great job and benefits, all the things. I was working here at the church, and one day, he had briefly mentioned it before, but I just vividly remember I was 8 months pregnant with our first daughter and sitting in the floor of our bedroom folding baby clothes. Yes, we owned Quality Cutters, but Ryan was working. He wasn't. Maybe, I think it was, you were doing Quality Cutters and working? Okay, when you said you wanted to quit your job and do that full time, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, no, you're talking about, oh, that's a different one. Okay, I forgot about that one. Sorry, we have a lot. Okay, I'll share that one next. The first one, though, was that he was working full time, had a job, had benefits. We owned Quality Cutters, but he didn't work there. We had someone else. I think Jacob maybe was, and Jacob was a phenomenal employee. All of our clients loved Jacob. Very relational, hard worker, showed up on time, all the things. And Ryan came in, and I was folding laundry in the bedroom floor, folding the baby clothes. I knew the baby was coming soon. I could tell. And he was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I've been praying about this, and I'm going to quit my job. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm going to do Quality Cutters. And you may actually, I think you are thinking of the right one. This was a different time. But this time he came in, actually, he was doing Quality Cutters. He said he wanted to go an entire year. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm rabbit trail. He did that. He chose to quit his job and run Quality Cutters. We saw the Lord at work in much growth in that business when Ryan left his job and started doing QC. I was scared because I'm like, well, how are we gonna, are you sure we can pay you? Do we have the money? Da, 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 da. And he was like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. So we took that leap of faith. So now, sorry that I mixed up my stories. Yeah, he burns the ship, and now he's working for Quality Cutters. There's been growth, new clients, all this stuff. And he comes in and says, I feel like I'm supposed to go an entire year without a pay. I'm not going to take a paycheck. I'm not going to take one penny. I'm going to let the business keep it. We're just going to live on your income. And I'm 8 months pregnant, and we're about to have a baby, our first baby, and I'm like immediately bawling. How are we going to pay for diapers? And we already don't have insurance because he had left the job with the benefits and all this stuff. So I had to be obedient to what he felt like the Lord was telling him, because I did not hear that from the Lord. But he did. And I said, we need that paycheck. We have to have, there's no way I can show you our budget. There's no way we can make it without your pay. We did. An entire year, he didn't take a paycheck. We lived off just my income. We had to cut things back. It was, there were times where it was tight, but then I was like, there were times where it wasn't. We had more than enough. And it was the Lord, how we were able to do that. And we saw even more growth in the business. And by the time we dissolved the business, it was a very successful, prosperous business.
Just to add to that, not trying to be haughty, but just the goodness of the Lord, obedience will grow you like nothing else. It's not your knowledge of anything, it's just being obedient. Every year I was in QC, it doubled, if not tripled, in income. And when we dissolved it, it was bringing in 6 figures. So just God is, if you're just obedient to that voice, even if you don't understand it and it's scary, if you take that step, but just verify that it's God, but he'll reward you.
There's just so many moments. It would be another day because God is so great. And you can see his hand moving in so many different ways that it's just overwhelming. And the more you try to understand, the more I try to understand God, the bigger he gets. I think I got him figured out, then he gets bigger. I think I know it. Then he says, not yet. And there's just so many different times that, and I shared to begin with about my wife and my son. When God laid on my heart about starting a business, had a long talk and began to pray over and over and over. And never changed my wife's heart, I don't think, because my wife is like, she's steady, she's solid. And when my wife came and she said, I think that's the thing we need to do, that's a moment. And then a teenage son that's in high school, 11th grader at that time, has a chance to be me taking him to school in a little blue truck. And then he says that also. That's a God moment.
We have time for one more question. All right, Becca.
So, going to boundaries and the line between family and work, do you have any tips or mantras that you just kind of immediately when you walk in the door, I do this, or it gets me in the headspace, because those can kind of get murky. They swim together sometimes. And then just like a click, like, is it on or off? Do you have any tips?
I think as an entrepreneur, that is a very hard challenge that you have to practice, because our minds are always rolling. There's always something to be moving. A saying that I keep in my mind is, wherever you are, be all there. 100%. There's actually a statistic, multitasking makes you 40% unproductive. It comes something I'm learning on now is focus and intentionality. Is if you focus, so like I could go into a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna try to keep it pretty simple. But it kind of like I would have went over before, you time block. This time, I'm working on this task. When that's over, I'm moving on, something else. Because I could sit there, okay, you're a visionary. You could visionary all day long, but you need to set a time block. I'm visionarying here. When it's over, it's over. I'm moving on to this. And do it for your children, your family, okay? I'm going to work 12, 16 hours Monday through Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if there's nothing burning in front of my face, I'm not working. That's family, that's church, whatever. Even in the evenings, set a time block. At this time, I'm done. And like I said, you have to be intentional. You're going to have to practice it. You're going to have to tweak it. It's just a continual thing.
Yeah, I would say building those disciplines, and this is something I'm still working on, but say it's your phone. You know, people are texting you about business stuff, business questions, needs, and for me, it's, you know, putting your phone either on Do Not Disturb or putting it away because the texts are still going to come. I don't think that people run by business hours anymore. They're going to text you at 9 p.m. if they think about it at 9 p.m. because that's convenient for them, right? So you have to be disciplined to set those things aside and intentional about your time and, your priorities. And finding balance. I know it's a lot harder as a mom to do that, but yeah, it's possible. I do know that.
All right. Well, do you guys have any closing thoughts or just bits that you'd like to share? You've given so much already, but I'd just like to give you one last opportunity if you have anything else that you'd like to share in closing.
I think I've pretty much covered everything. My wife, like I say, she's my rock. She's been there. She listens to me gripe. She listens to me smile. She laughs with me. She cries with me, and totally honest with each other through the whole business process. Now through marriage. So, ma'am, put your family first, because when you reach my age and you retire, family's there, the business is not, but the family is. And that's my suggestion to you on that.
That made me think of something Pastor Frankie told me one time that he does at some of the things he does. He gets a cup of Play-Doh and a cup of water, and he says, stick your finger in the water and take it out. He said in business, that's how fast you can be replaced. Stick it in the Play-Doh and take it out. In your family, that's how fast you can be replaced. And time is our most valuable asset. You don't get time back. Once it's gone, it's gone. Money, it comes and goes. You can always make money. So that's where the boundaries come into place. What are your priorities? When your children are young and you're chasing this and you don't, once it's gone, it's gone. And people, you have to have your boundaries and you have to stay true to them, because people are going to try to shoot torpedoes in there and get in there. And it goes back to, it can either control you or you can control it.
I had one more thought for anyone who is in business and has young children or even teenagers. If at all possible, and you're able to at times, I know it's not always feasible, let them be a part of your business, and so that you show them, instead of always like, I got to go take care of this, I got to go to work, bring them along with you and show them that they're a part of your work and that they're important, just as more important than your business, and that you would stop anything. If it's a business phone call and they come in with a bloody finger, you're not going to stay on the business phone call. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to have to call you back, and you take care of them first. But that's something I've been blessed to be able to do, is to bring my children to work with me several times and be a part of business. And if you ask Eliza what she wants to be when she gets older, she wants to own a dance studio. And I'm like, well, it's coming to you, girl. She can teach those classes, and but set an example for them. And yeah.
Well, one thing I will say in closing is that I've had a relationship with all four of you for a few years now, and got the chance to do the working environment with you guys, and then even serving in ministry with you guys in different aspects of the church. And one thing I appreciate about all four of you is your intentionality and integrity enough to know when to say yes and know when to say no. You know your capacity, and I'm sure it's very hard because you're all such kind people to say no at times. And I will say that you've been very generous with your yeses and agreement to do something. But I've noticed about all four of you, if you feel I don't believe I can keep my word, if I give my word here, then you don't give that word. And so I honor you for that. I can't imagine carrying all that you guys carry, but you've carried well, you've stewarded well, and that's why I believe the Lord has given you those 10 cities, right? And so I honor you. Let's honor them. Just thank them for their time, for sharing with us this evening, and I honor you for being here as well. But let's honor our teachers tonight.